what is the effect on the rest of society when you have a large group of people making it difficult for everybody else to do what they normally do. The difficulties we've heard on the sea trains. I was just driving home the other day, and I saw somebody already set up their camp in a doorway. I used to live down in the Beltline, and some of the stuff you saw that went on down there, if you were a shopkeeper, the first thing you had to do was to scrub down your doorstep. I don't want to get too explicit here. You know what I'm talking about. Why should people have to put up with that? That is another argument. That's not a sympathetic one. People say, well, we've got to make accommodations for people who struggle. Well, all right. When exactly are you prepared to step in and say, this person needs help? If they don't get it, they're going to kill themselves. Yep. What we're talking about is when they are apprehended for something else, then they have that choice. It's still a choice.
Yes, a choice perhaps between, a full incarceration or entering a treatment program. And we've seen, I think that's why even, governments are finally musing about it. The enablement approach has failed. It's failed everywhere it's been tried. The West Coast is a disaster from Los Angeles all the way up to Vancouver. Anywhere where they try saying if we can just give enough safe consumption, administer naloxone enough times, they're going to come out of their fog and voluntarily go into treatment, and they don't, and they won't. The other aspect of this too, though, as Rachel Notley was, of course, playing the politics, saying Danielle Smith wants to incarcerate innocent Albertans and such, but I believe I saw that it wouldn't be arbitrary. They would set up a tribunal, and I would imagine set some bars. Has this person, I'm just throwing things out, been repeatedly brought in for this? Has there been medical distress? Have they perhaps threatened others' safety or the well-being of businesses? A number of check boxes before you get to the point of forcing the issue.
And one point that I want to build on is with Alberta, they're doing the Alberta model, whereas BC has the BC model, and the Alberta model is more focused on treatment, whereas the BC model is more focused on harm reduction. I know for a fact that Danielle Smith's current chief of staff, Marshall Smith, used to be a former drug addict in the downtown east side of Vancouver. And he talked about how eventually it was a treatment model like what's going on in Alberta, which ultimately brought him out of the addiction and, treated him.
Yeah, they need treatment. They won't come out alone. You can't just cold turkey it. You can't white knuckle it. And it's great for the people who've never experienced withdrawal. They can't understand. And again, I've been open about it. I had to deal with my alcoholism. I had to go to a lot of AA meetings and deal with a lot of things to get there. And I had a lot of help. One of the aspects of that is to be able to get around other people who have experienced that, so you can share your experiences and what works, and you network. But you've got to get into that program, that first step, and to try and think that some of those addicts, when they're at the point of sleeping behind a dumpster, unconscious, or they're shuffling down the street, again, emaciated and covered in sores, they're not going to voluntarily choose to come in at that point. And we're looking at intervention to save a life by that point. They're not going to make it if we leave them as it is. But that's what we're being asked to do.